I'm back yet again with a little update here with the course. So uh, let's jump into it. First of all, again, if we check out our pacing guide here for the course, at this point in time, we're hopefully working on module 3. And I'll be honest with you, I've had quite a bit of people doing work, which I want to thank you all for your help in getting everyone started and hopefully either playing catch up or caught up or even ahead of the game. So we are about a month out from the end of the marking period. And again, if we're following this pacing guide, we've got 2 modules left here. The module that I want to talk a little bit about today is this module 3, which says the risk management using the IPDE process. So let me get into the course here itself, just to give you guys a little bit closer look as to what's going to be going on in here. So a couple different things going on, and there's quite a bit of information in this. In my personal opinion, this is the single most important module out of all of them. And I say that because the physical skills necessary to drive a vehicle are really not that challenging, right? There are some difficult tasks and things like that that people might have to do, but overall, steering, using your feet to hit the pedals, looking around a little bit, that's not too difficult. It's not too taxing on the body. But this part is what we tend to see is a little bit more difficult. And that's for drivers of all ages, but especially young, new drivers, just because of a lack of experience. So the whole risk management is quite a difficult task. Those of you who have been sitting beside someone who has their permit, you probably know what I'm talking about. Right? You ask them why they did certain things, and it makes no sense to you, but you've probably been driving now for quite a long period of time and they're very new at it. So that's what this talks about. This IPDE process, it stands for identify, predict, decide, and execute. I always like to share an example that I used to always do when we were in a classroom setting. So I'm going to pull up a picture here and I'll explain how this IPDE process works. So this is a common experience that a lot of us have in our immediate area. We're driving down the road and we see a deer in the middle of the road. So I'm going to use this IPDE process to kind of talk you through this scenario. And this is something that we do in fractions of a second. And we do it over and over and over and over again as we're driving down the road. Many of us experienced drivers don't even really think about this. We just do it. All right. As a new driver, again, we just have limited experience. It's something that you may actually want them to verbalize out loud. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. So identify the I in that IPDE process. As we're driving down the road, we're constantly scanning, looking at different things. In this case, we identify there's a deer in the middle of the road. All right, so that's the identifying stage, is picking up information, using it, getting some clues from different things. Predicting. All right, P stands for predict. I can predict that deer might stand there. That deer might also cross the road. We don't really know. All right, so for predicting, I'm going to say that deer is just going to stand there. For deciding, right, this is kind of what I like to refer to as the plan of action. I need to decide as a driver what I'm going to do. So that might be something as easy as just removing my foot from the accelerator. It might be touching the brake pad. It might be slamming the brake pads. It might be I need to swerve my vehicle. All right. Any of those plans or actions that we can take, that's our deciding step. Right. And the last part, the executing, this is what we are physically doing in our vehicle. So it might be simply taking the foot off the pedal. It might be I need to press hard on the brakes. I might need to do a swerving maneuver to get around or beside that deer. All right. That's the physical action taking place within the vehicle. All right. Those first 3 steps, the identify, the predict, and the decide or decision part, those are the really key important factors. Right, and hopefully our reflexes and things like that are quick enough that we can do the executing part. All right, so that's quickly a kind of an overview of how we use that. Again, that could be any single thing that we see on the roadway as we're going down. All right, and it could be as simple as just seeing a warning sign and prepping for something might be coming up ahead of us. All right. So again, it's this thought process that goes on over and over again. Within module 3 itself, we talk a little bit about risk, and we talk about some of the things that we do as drivers that make things riskier versus how we can make them safer. There's an Ed Puzzle video that talks all about what I just did, that IPDE process. We make 6 zones around our vehicle that we constantly need to be scanning and looking at. That's what this is. And then we talk a little bit more about some of these things associated with the mental side of driving. All right, the last one is a short little video clip that there's going to be a response to. Those of you who are at the point where you have a permitted driver in the vehicle with you, or maybe you're about to, I highly recommend, and I know a lot of kids think this is foolish, but I highly recommend, as the person sitting in the passenger seat, that you have your son, your daughter, whomever it is, do what we call commentary driving. And commentary driving is basically vocalizing what they see, what they think is going to happen, what they think they need to do, what they're doing. Right? It's using that IPDE process, but verbalizing it out loud. Right? There is a pretty high amount of stress and pressure on both a new driver and the person sitting next to them. And we tend to see a little bit of arguing and frustration and things like that. Commentary driving is something that can really help. If you guys are interested in behind the wheel driving, again, we don't offer it here at school, but the professionals that do behind the wheel driving, a lot of times they're going to ask the person behind the wheel, hey, talk to me about what you're seeing. Talk to me about what you think you need to do. Right? It's a way to get some clarity and some information about what is going on in the minds of the person behind the wheel. If you have any questions or anything further that you'd like to know about this information, let me know. Again, this is really the most important part of driving, is being able to mentally be aware and make good decisions. And there's a lot of things that affect decision making. Right? For young people, being in another vehicle with other young people, there's that peer influence there, that when someone's telling you, hey, go faster, that you say, no, I'm not going to go faster. All right. And all those other things that can be occurring, it can be kind of a challenging thing, especially for a new driver. Again, if you have questions, let me know. I will probably be back again next week giving you a little summary of some other things that are upcoming. If you have any questions, need anything, let me know. If not, have a great rest of the week. See ya.